Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me as always in the co-host seat is our good friend, Mr. Darren Stone.
Who is not dead.
He is not dead. Angela is still returning home from her trip to Canada this weekend. She said once she gets home, she should be able to join us. When that will be, we don't know. But I hope that she has safe travels on the way home. We do want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you by Casey Fox for all of your artwork, cosplay, and convention needs. Be sure to check out Casey Fox, that's KAYCIFOXX, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Etsy. We're also brought to you by Triple S Lawn Care. If you're in the Raleigh-Durham area in North Carolina and you need some expert lawn care, be sure to reach out to Triple S Lawn Care. They'll do the job right for a competitive price, and Darren will make sure that you're satisfied with the work.
Oh yes, that's what I do, and that's what I stand behind. I stand behind everything.
And hello to all of you awesome people in the chat. Hello, Ross, Mario, John, and hello to all of you wonderful people listening via the podcast platforms, wherever you may be in the world. It is amazing to see how we have grown. Recent statistics that Angela sent us show that we have a 4% listenership in Japan. How crazy is that?
I guess they like hearing us talk about not only their culture but their shows.
Yeah, I mean the Japanese culture. There's a lot of stuff to enjoy. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of bad, like anywhere. There's good and bad, but I like a lot of Japanese culture. I wish some of that stuff would be incorporated here in the U.S., but that would never fly.
The predominant thing in Japanese culture that I agree with, they teach manners for the first couple of years of school, and then teach you everything else. Because even though I know a lot of it starts at home, I think it would be a great thing if the kids were to be exposed to that stuff a lot sooner, and maybe society wouldn't be as
distraught as it is, to put it nicely.
Distraught, destructive, depressed. I don't know.
And a question for you, Darren, from Ross in the chat says, "It's okay, Darren. It's been a week. Have you seen the 100 episode 2 yet?"
Yes, I saw episode 2. What the actual?
I can understand, Ross, now why you feel like you're need to recover from episode 2. If you don't know what he's referring to, it's the 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really love you. They introduce a character in episode 2 of that is completely deranged and the stuff of nightmares.
And completely illegal.
Yeah. It's very disturbing, to say the least. But it seems like we are in the season of multiple girlfriends with the 100 girlfriends who really love you. You've got girlfriend, rent a girlfriend. Girlfriend seems to be one of the topics of this season.
I prefer as much as I love my ecchi harems, I do like my slice of life romances. The inexperienced me and the experienced you, or it's the other way around, our love story. Very wholesome. Love it so far. Need more like it.
And people probably saw the title, Too Much Isekai, Not Enough Fantasy, for tonight's show. And sitting down, and I've watched 7 episodes of Frieren, the Journey's End, in Japanese, and it's really nice to sit down and watch good, wholesome interesting fantasy, which you don't really get anymore. You get all of these, harem isekai, overpowered nonsense, which, granted, Darren and I both love.
Of course.
But it's so refreshing to watch Frieren. And I did sit down and watch episodes 1 and 2 in English dub with my wife tonight, and she was enjoying it. It's not the most action-packed storyline. It's not the most exhilarating, exciting. There's fights, there's this, there's that. It's just a good, wholesome story about what life is like through the eyes of an elf after the after they defeat the demon lord with the heroes party, and you get to see kind of the world through Freren's eyes, who's elf mage, as her party members get in age, pass away, and she ends up being introduced to some of their underlings.
Mm-hmm.
And Ross in the chat says, "Oh, and on the topic of the title of today's show, as of yesterday's 3 episodes, it is confirmed romance between the 2 main characters in Butareba."
In what?
He says in Butareba, Butareba.
Never heard of it.
And John Knight says that Devil is a Part-Timer Season 2 Part 2 dub finale has released 3 days ago, and he's going to watch it tomorrow. Let us know if it got any better, because I tried watching it in Japanese, Part 1, in Season 2 Part 1 in Japanese and in English, and it just may have been too much time spent between Seasons 1 and 2, but man, I just was kind of disappointed by Season 2 of Devil.
Well, at least you have Season 5 of Data Live to look forward to.
I didn't like Season 4.
And I know you didn't watch Data Bullet.
No.
Nope. Neither did I.
And Spike Bebop in the chat says Frieren is very refreshing. It really is. And that's one thing that I like, that I've really enjoyed about it. It's just a nice slice of life fantasy, but you don't normally get to see. And they don't put a ton of that out nowadays. It seems like everything is isekai, everything is reincarnation. And it feels like a lot of creators are trying to figure out what's the next stupidest thing that we can have somebody get reincarnated as. You started with a slime, and that was a hit. You went to a sword, and that was really good. Vending machines should not have been as good as it is.
I watched the first episode of The Pig.
And how was that?
Could have been a lot weirder.
I'll give it time.
You got a pig, you got a guy that was isekai'd into a pig, and then the person that's taking care of the pig pen that he arrives in is able to telepathically read minds, so she knows he's not actually a pig, and he gets let out of the pig pen, and basically he's getting treated like a pet at this point, or she's actually treating him like a person.
So she's a little bit more grown up Anya.
She's a little more what?
A grown up version of Anya. Can read the mind.
Pretty much, but not as smug, smirk. And she's very innocent too.
And John Knight in the chat has a question for you and me.
Oh, Lord.
He wants to know, Doug and Darren, what was the first isekai anime you've watched?
We're talking about truly reincarnated, or is being trapped in a video game considered isekai?
I mean,
my first quote unquote isekai, if it's a video game, was Yu-Gi-Oh!
I would have to say my first one in the technical definition of what an isekai is would have to be Inuyasha. Granted, they can go back and forth between worlds, but Kagome still ends up being isekai'd into a different world.
One of the great American cartoons that is very much an isekai. Do you remember a show called Spider Riders?
No.
People in the chat, anyone that grew up in the early 2000s, do y'all remember a show called Spider Riders? It's not anime, but it is isekai. Guy goes digging through his grandpa's stuff. His grandpa always talked about another world. He ends up being summoned to that world by the deity there and ends up meeting a spider, and they ride on him and they use him for battle. And he's one of, I think it's 8 chosen spider riders to go up against a different race that's causing destruction. But in reality, all that race wants is to be accepted by the deity of that world.
John Knight in the chat says he has not heard of Spider Rider.
Ross,
Mario.
hello.
Ross still talking about, it says the girl in the anime Buta Reba personality is kind and naive. So Ross is still talking about the other one. So we'll give him a second to answer the question and see if he's heard that. But it has been kind of an interesting season, and since switching jobs, I've been able to keep up with anime more, even though I'm working weird hours. It's kind of weird to say that, but I've been able to watch more anime this season, like this season and last season, since I'm only working one job now.
And even though I'm still working too, considering it gets dark at 6:45 instead of 8 and 9 o'clock now, I'm actually getting home, and after I get settled down, I've actually had time for anime too.
And one of the shows I've been watching, of course, Spy Family, has been entertaining. I do have one complaint about season 2 of Spy Family. And I don't have you seen any of Spy Family season 2?
I've seen episode uno.
Then I don't want to say what my complaint is just yet. Ross says, I believe that show was on the same time as another show called Dragonflies, spelled Flyz. So I might have heard of it when he was 10, but never seen or watched it, referring back to Spider Rider.
It used to be, it was on a kid show on a kids programming network called Dragonfly TV. Another show that aired on that block was Babar, American animated show, I believe, about a young elephant prince or a king, and then something to do with, and then a show called Animal Crackers.
These shows just sound ridiculous. The titles anyway. I've never even heard of that channel.
Well, so, it was on NBC back in the day, right after they introduced digital television, and if you were scrolling through the local channels, you'd have, like, for me it was 17.2 or 17.3, with the .1s being your regular programming.
Okay, yeah. I never had that. I never had the digital TV stuff. So
You never had the converter box converting from analog to digital?
now we either had cable or, and I haven't really had cable in years. So
No. I grew up with analog TV, black and white TV. Wow, I'm dating myself even though I'm not that old.
I mean, I've been at, I've gone to family members' houses where you had to actually get up and turn the dial on the TV to change the channel.
Yep.
No
We
remote
had,
controls.
we had an old black and white TV
We, we
where
had
you
we
had
had a
to have
rotary phone in my house growing up.
I've got a rotary phone from my aunt, and her house was so old, it had the old style connection. It was the four plug in the wall instead
Yep.
of the little phone line.
Yep. And John Knight in the chat says the English dub for Spy Family season 2 has released yesterday. Yeah, but we couldn't wait. My wife and I have watched the first 3 episodes now of that in Japanese, as well as the Saint's Magic Powers is Omnipotent. That show is still as good as season 1 was, but it did not get much love. And
Probably because everyone's tired of overpowered main characters.
And the funny thing is, she's not even really overpowered. It's more feels like it's like developing into a love story. Like this, did you watch season 1 of that one, Darren?
Nope.
This show would be right up your alley. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I know sometimes we joke around about a show that you wouldn't like and be like, oh no, you should check it out. I think Saint's Magic Power would be up your alley because it does have the Isekai aspect. It's got slice of life and romance aspects to it. It's got some fantasy aspects, and I know all of that is stuff that you enjoy.
Well, don't forget, Uncle Grandpa or Wise Man's Grandchild or whatever the hell it was the same way. Even though it was entertaining, it was just so bad.
Well, that one was bad. This one's actually really good. In season 2, it feels like the storyline's picking up and it's getting a little better.
Okay.
And HH in the chat says, anyone remember picking up cordless phones through your UHF band on the TV? Yes.
Cordless phones. Nope. I remember corded phones attached to a radio because that's what I had for years.
And Ross throwing a joke out there saying, Darren, if you're dating yourself, then you can buy yourself flowers. You can hold your own hand and write your name in the sand.
That sounds depressing.
But, and switching gears a little bit here, convention news. We hope that all of our friends who went out to conventions this weekend, including AAC and PuchiCon, had a good time. I know that there's been some controversy with some of the goings-ons at PuchiCon this year, or at least one in Pennsylvania. I've heard some stories about people paying for tables and not getting them. A lot of red flags seem to have popped up over the last month or so. And I don't like bad mouthing any conventions, but due to some of the stuff that I've heard going on, I don't think we're going to continue pursuing working with PuchiCon in the future, unfortunately. And I love the staff, but from the way that I was seeing some of the con being run in some aspects, and especially where they had a lot of guest cancellations, uncharacteristically, it almost felt like, makes me think that there's more behind the scenes. So I think it would be best if we looked for another convention to work with for going forward, especially once I know somewhat of what my future work schedule may look like and when I'll have time to actually go to another convention and enjoy myself. But another convention that was also brought up that Darren just found out about in his neck of the woods, uh, Animate Raleigh.
Yep. I happened to see an advertisement for it the other day, and I didn't think nothing of it because I've gotten multiple advertisements for conventions out of state. And then I got to looking, and I'm like, wait a sec, this is at the convention center. And Doug was nice enough to open the details, but when I saw the dates, it's for January. And us having a winter convention is incredibly unusual. So I think me and my friend Matt, who's been on the show before, are going to go check this out and see what it's all about.
And I'm not going to lie, Darren, I've pulled up the guest tab, and they've got some interesting guests. Under the voice actors tab, you've got Lindsay Jones, Kara Ebro, Aaron Zett, Barbara Dunkelman, who looks like, I think she was from the character, I'm guessing Ruby. Stephanie Young, who is a name that anime fans know. Eric Vale, who's been a guest on the show in the past. Rob Weedhoff, Roger Clark. You've got the voices of Phineas and Ferb. David Arago Jr. and Vincent Martella are both going to be there. KG Tang. You've got Adam MacArthur, Ann Yatko, Jason Douglas, Johnny Young Bosch. There's a good name for you, Darren. Jade Saxton, another fantastic voice actress who we've had the honor of having on the show a couple of times. Michelle Ruff, Alexis Tipton, Don Bennett, Jamie Markey.
Oh, Lord.
Gary Anthony Williams, James Urbanik, and Dana Snyder.
I know the Dana Snyder one. Was he the one that did... remind me, what did he do?
He was Shake when you had that fries, shake, and meatball.
Okay, I know what you're talking. I've seen his stuff before, but I've never.
Yeah, it's like I know the name, but like I just know because they have the picture up.
Okay, so interesting guest list.
Guy Hutchinson is going to be there under the literary and industry guests. Entertainment, MC Chris, Shiori, and Noise Complaint. Fan groups, the Fan Dames Initiative is going to be there. And James Spence Authentication is going to be at Animate as well. So that seems pretty interesting.
Most definitely. I wonder. Nah, I doubt it.
And just got a message from Angela who says I-90 is down to one lane. She is still in the tunnel. No idea when she'll be home. So
I'm sorry, but that's one thing I hate. There's two things I hate, and only one I really have to deal with. I hate getting stopped on a bridge in traffic, and I would hate to be in a tunnel in traffic.
And the tunnels going through Boston definitely is not the funnest place either. I've been through there. I remember when they were building the tunnel. It was supposed to be like a 10-year project known as the Big Dig. After everything was said and done, I think it took like almost 20 years to complete. They had to deal with massive flooding over and over again because they were going under the Charles River.
Sounds about right.
Just a complete and total nightmare from everything I remember when living in Boston
Well,
or in the Boston area.
I've come to the conclusion road construction projects, no matter where you go, they say they give you a timeline, and then 95% of the time, those timelines just double it.
Yeah. And HH in the chat says Angela can be home between 25 minutes and 3 hours. And that's if you live 2 miles from where you're stopped.
Yep. I'm sorry, at that point, if you don't care for your car, just walk. You'd be home in 15 minutes. No, you'd be home in like an hour.
But, again, we hope that all of our friends that attended any conventions this weekend, we hope you had a good time. Sad that we had to miss AAC and BuchiCon. But hopefully next year I'll know better about which events that we can make. Good evening, Kaya. I hope that you had a great time at AAC. It's great to see you in the chat. I know it was sad. I haven't seen you at a con since last year. Of course, Kaya Tanu, a good friend of ours, has been a guest on the show, a wonderful up-and-coming VTuber.
Ow.
Darren's hurting himself again. That's how he ends up dead. He hurts himself.
Yep. I get inflicted with recoil damage.
But again, if you're interested in checking out Animate Raleigh, it's going to be going on January 5th through 7th down in Raleigh, North Carolina. From the looks of it, I'm guessing it's at the same venue.
Yep.
That we went to at the Raleigh Convention Center. The event hours, Friday is 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., Saturday 10 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Sunday 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Wow. They extended the Sunday hours a little bit.
Yeah.
And did you say this was sponsored by a bigger...
It is part of the GalaxyCon group.
And like I said, that's interesting.
Which is probably how they're able to get, like you said, that this looks like it's a newer event. That's probably how they were able to get so many. Unless, oh no, they still have GalaxyCon Raleigh as well. So you're gonna have Animate Raleigh and GalaxyCon Raleigh. It's on their site.
This just seems like an off-season convention with better prices.
Yeah. And Kaya says, yeah, it's been too long. It has been too long. Hopefully in the future we can figure out a way of getting together, hanging out, even if it means you come out here and we hang out for a weekend or something come down to Pennsylvania. Lots of stuff to do out here, especially in the summertime, which is tough for Darren because he can't really travel in the summer. But
yep, I just had a convention I missed in Louisville, Kentucky this week again, and that's GIE. So I missed my landscape expo again this year, and to my understanding, they had a lot of good stuff this year, but now I just have to wait for it to trickle down to the dealerships, and maybe I'll be able to see some of it at the farm show in February.
Also want to pass along a hello from our friend Rick from Nerd Urbanity. I was talking with him via email a little bit this week. He said, unfortunately, due to storms, airports being shut down, he was unable to make it to the Toy Expo that he was talking about when he was on with us last. But he would still like to return. Maybe in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to bring him on and chat. Our scheduled guest who was supposed to be tonight, Dan Flanders, had to reschedule for next week. He had a birthday last week, and this weekend he was spending time with friends and family. So, again, we wish him a very happy birthday, and we look forward to having Manic Dan on with us next week.
I mean, we have him on every year around Halloween, so
that
a little bit closer to Halloween would never hurt nobody.
Of course. And it wouldn't be in October without having Dan on at least once. But we'll be honest. He is just such an awesome guy. At some point, Darren, I hope you can meet him in person. He just really is a wild, crazy, and awesome guy. And Kaya in the chat says that he thinks they'll probably just do PAX, Fan Expo, and AAC going forward for now. How was AAC? Did you have a good time? Well, Kaya's hearing that. We're talking about some of the other shows that we've been watching. Touched on Spy Family, which you said you've seen one. Oh, Buta Eba.
That's Heat the Pig Liver.
Yeah, that's Heat the Pig Liver. I just realized that's what Ross was saying.
It clicked after the fact because I kept thinking, I'm like, where have I heard that? Oh, now I get it. Because Buta is pig in Japanese, I think.
Okay. Girlfriend season 2 has been kind of ridiculous.
Wasn't the premise of the whole show to be ridiculous?
Yeah, but you can see that it's going up to like 4 girls that he could potentially have, even though one of them is like
ignores.
Well, one he completely ignores and has like pushed her away as much as he can, and another one, knows she has feelings for him, but because he's dating her friend, she is doing her best to not let those feelings take control. Kaya talking about AAC says it was okay as most people he know didn't go. Plus, it poured all day Saturday. I know about the rain because I had to work Friday night to Saturday morning outside, and I was a drowned rat after 8 hours of doing local switching with the railroad.
We were supposed to get rain on Friday, and that's the whole reason my friend stopped by to help me. Because he was getting rained out at his other job. It got everywhere around me and left me alone until about 7 o'clock that evening. And then the bottom fell out. But by then it was too dark to see.
Yeah. So you kind of lucked out.
Yeah, even with lights on the equipment.
Uma Musume Pretty Derby Season 3 has been about what you'd expect. I'm not going to say it's fantastic. I'm not going to say it's terrible. It's been about what you'd expect from Pretty Derby.
Mm-hmm. But still good, clean, wholesome racing.
Yeah, it's been definitely enjoyable. I'm not going to say that it's been horrible. A kind of a goofy one that I've been watching, a playthrough of a certain dude's VR MMO life, has been entertaining to say the least. Kind of isekai, kind of not, because it's not really. He's not really transported to another world. You're just kind of watching his life as he plays in a video game style, but you get to see him come back to reality by removing the headset. So kind of Fury. Only the main character isn't like super tank like Maple was. He's more of, okay, I'm starting a new VR MMO. Let's see. I don't want to stand out. I don't want to be, draw too much attention to myself or anything of that nature. So he picks skills that seem stupid, inept, stuff that nobody would ever really want. And then the show figures out a way of making it where everything he chooses actually is good. Everything from cooking skills to herbalism to his main attack is kicking. So he designs his own like shoe blades to um, uh, use in battle. So when he's kicking the monsters, he's got knives on the side of the boots he's wearing. And Kaya in the chat says Shangri-La Frontier has been interesting. And John Knight says the English dub from Girlfriend Season 2 released 2 days ago. So Girlfriend is getting dubbed now as well. And it may be interesting. I know we talk a lot on the show, Darren, about sub versus dub, and I do watch both, and it's interesting to compare. Having the most recent show that I've watched in both English and in Japanese being Frieren, I want to say I really think they did a great job with the voices thus far.
Good.
Like the voices really, really fit the characters in both. And for those of you wondering, the English cast with the first 5 main characters of the show, you have Mallory Rodak as Frieren, Jill Harris as Fern, Chris Guerrero as Eisen, Jason Douglas as Heater, and Clifford Chapin as Himmel, the hero. Himmel was the hero, Heiter was the priest, Eisen was the dwarf, and of course, Frieren is the mage. Fern is a young orphan girl who Heiter later saved after the hero's party kind of continued on after defeating the Demon Lord's army and everything. So it's been a really good cast. Because I know that there are times and I'm sure, Darren, you can even admit that the English dub voice acting has gotten a lot better than it was when you first tried listening to it.
Yeah. The writing for some of them, I beg the question, but all in all, the actual performances, yes.
I mean, there's only been a couple of times in recent history I can think of listening to something. I'm like, the voice just really didn't seem like it fit that character. And sometimes it almost feels like they try too hard to imitate the Japanese voice. And then it almost sounds forced and doesn't sound like it should fit the character. There's different reasons. And when you watch tons and tons of anime, I'm sure between you and me combined, Darren, we've probably seen over 700-800 animes.
Probably. And you throw Angela in the mix, it's probably well over 1,000.
Yeah. And Ross says, I'm not watching it because I'm watching romance anime, which is what I'm into. But why on Twitter talking about Frieren sitting on stool so shocking? I'm not sure what that one means, Ross. If you can elaborate a little bit more.
Excuse me.
But but all in all, like I said, Frieren it's been a nice change of pace to have kind of a good, wholesome, just fantasy. Kaya says the new Idolmaster anime has been decent as well. Of course, you'd be watching that one. I would expect nothing less from you, Kaya. And again, I thank you for the recommendation of Shine Post because that was fantastic. And Darren, you even kind of enjoyed Shine Post a little bit.
Yes, I did.
Even though idol anime isn't really your thing, it still I thought it had a good storyline. The music was pretty good in it. And
What kills me, what kills me is that I really enjoyed Zombieland Saga, but I forgot to watch season 2.
I haven't. If it makes you feel any better, I really enjoyed season 1 and haven't seen season 2 either. Ross says the girl with the purple robe in a scene of episode 2 goes to sit down and bounces when she sits. I'm not sure what scene that is because I just rewatched episode 2 today, just a few hours ago. Good evening, Shark. Fririn.
Oh.
And good evening, Shark. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Hopefully, you all were able to stay somewhat dry. If it was raining in your area, I know we had a lot of rain that came through here.
We're actually supposed to get heat this week.
I know.
I think we're back up near the 80s.
We're supposed to be towards the end of the week. We could be seeing temperatures in the low to mid 70s.
That's impressive for y'all.
Yeah. And Kaya agrees with you, Darren, on our dating story. The experienced you and the inexperienced me he says this one has been good too.
Yep. Because I love wholesome couples. Girl is used to jumping right into things with her boyfriends. This guy's never had a girlfriend before, so he wants to do it by the book, per se, and take it as slow as possible, get to know the person he's dating as much as possible, yada, yada, yada. And I wish more people would do the same.
Yeah, Sharka says their weekend has been good. They found a Pikachu Squishmallow today. Congrats.
Oh, I found something interesting that I probably needed to jump on, but oh well. I found a copy of Pokemon Emerald on the Facebook Marketplace, local to me, for $30. Something sounds wrong about that. Because used Pokemon games normally go for upwards of $60, $70. Especially Pokemon Emerald. That's if you ask me, that is the hardest game to complete in the Pokemon franchise, strictly because of the battle frontier. You have to win 70 matches in a row to get the symbol, the final symbol for one of the 7 facilities. You have one facility where you can't even choose your moves. The Pokemon decide on their own, depending on how attached you are to them.
Interesting.
Everyone was really hoping it would come back in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but unfortunately it didn't.
And Ross in the chat still talking about Fern, says the character Fern was sitting down and somehow she bounces on the stool and it has people shocked. I don't know why.
Did that set Twitter off?
Yeah, it set Twitter off.
We'll figure.
Twitter, X, whatever it's called now, a waste of space. I kind of stopped paying attention to that because it's just a bunch of nonsense.
Hasn't that? They flat out said in Monster Musume that never underestimate the government's resources. But in reality, we just use Twitter.
Pretty much. And Sharka, in response, also congrats again on the Pikachu Squashmallow. We actually found one for our daughter a couple months ago, I think it was, and the cats apparently like it because even though she's asleep, it somehow ended up in the hallway upstairs before my wife went to bed, just before coming on the show tonight. So the
Don't
cats
forget.
kind of like Pikachu too.
Well, he is a mouse. And
Yeah,
they're a cat. So
he's electric. Boogie woogie woogie. And if you get that reference, you're old. No.
no, they still played that at our dances.
Do they?
Yeah. Hey, look, if it makes you feel any better, there was a video that went viral of a high school, and it was a dance, whatever. And guess what song they were playing? And this was kind of interesting.
What song?
Fishing in the Dark by Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Oh, I like that song.
I do too.
That's a really good song.
But everyone in the comments were going, I wonder if those kids actually realize what the meaning behind that song is.
Who knows?
But yes, I love that song as well.
Every now and then songs come around that just seem to defy time, and it's like you won't hear it for a while. Somebody will mention something, it'll trigger that song, and then you have to go back and watch it again.
Oh, one of my employees, he claims to like country music. He likes a lot of the newer stuff. I pull out some of the old stuff the other day. I play him one song, and he said, dude, I've been hooked on this song all weekend. And he pulled it up. And I'm just like, see, there you go. And it was Play Something Country by Brooks and Dunn.
That was a good one too. Brooks and Dunn was great. I wish I could have seen them in concert. Country concerts I've seen. Sawyer Brown, Kenny Chesney before he went country pop. Like when he first came out, when he was strictly country, I got to see him.
I got to see him in 2006, 2007. And my parents got to go see Rascal Flatts.
Charlie Daniels Band I've seen twice.
Yep. We went to go see Alabama, and they had Charlie Daniels as one of their guests or one of their openers.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble now, Darren. We got to behave.
Oh, man. I was having fun.
Hello, everybody.
Fresh back from Canada, full of poutine. It's Angela. I don't know if you actually had poutine or not, but
I don't. I did not. AJ did. Fun fact. I don't like the texture of cheese curds.
And fun fact for Darren, Blake Shelton isn't on The Voice this season. They have Reba.
Oh, an improvement.
Yeah.
I will actually agree with that. Blake Shelton, I would argue Reba's got far more
Clout.
Success. Staying power. Longevity.
Just all around better person.
And more actual quote unquote country music.
Yeah. I'm not a country fan, but you gotta respect Reba.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she only had 2 TV shows.
I mean, it goes along. She's up there with Dolly Parton.
No.
And you gotta respect the talent. And my husband's yelling at me.
Not even on the same fucking level. Not even close.
Oh, shut up. Anyways.
So we've been having fun tonight, Andrew. We were talking a little bit about too much isekai, not enough fantasy. Why we feel that's been the case over the past few years, and some of that was spurred on from watching Frieren. My wife and I watched the first 2 episodes English dub today, and it hooked her. She's been interested in it, and it's nice to have a pure fantasy anime. It's not isekai. It's not overhyped. There's not a ton of, like, early on, not a lot of fight scenes for those who like fight scenes and stuff. It's just kind of a slow-moving slice of life fantasy fun anime where you get to look at the world through the eyes of an elf who, in her world, 50 years feels like a day.
There's exactly one point on that I will argue with you. I would argue it actually is overrated. Because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about that show specifically. I'm seeing that come up a lot in my feed. So on social media. Like, so much to the point where I'm gonna wait and in probably either not watch it at all or watch it later when the hype dies down.
And the hype will probably die down as soon as the season's over. We'll be honest.
Well, to be fair, we have had 2 decent fantasy animes in the past couple of years. Getting kicked out of the Demon Lord's army in my 30s, and
that was pretty good.
Banished from the Heroes Party.
And Banished is getting a 2nd season.
I would also argue Goblin Slayer falls under the realm of fantasy.
Well, that's quality fantasy.
And we've had a very active chat tonight. We've had a lot of our normal friends in here, including Kaya has returned from AAC, John Knight, HH, Ross, Sharka was in the chat.
Did you say Mario earlier?
Mario was there at the start as well. And Spike Bebop, which was a new name, was in there.
Ooh, yay.
So awesome to see so many people in the chat. Again, if you're listening to us through one of the podcast platforms, Sunday nights, come over to our YouTube channel. Join us in the chat. We love the interaction. We love chatting with everybody. It's so much fun to get the interaction with you guys out there. And we've got some of the best fans in the world. Angela finally finished the audiobook for Chris Broad's Broad in Japan book. Very entertaining. I enjoyed a lot of the stories in that. And I'm so glad he read the audiobook, because if it was read by anybody else, I don't think it would have been as good.
I'd argue there'd only be a couple of people that could do that justice. But
although I won't lie, it probably would have been funny to hear Sea-Dog read it.
That's exactly where my brain went to. That would have been funny.
What about Giguk?
Giguk would. I don't think Giguk would have had the same feel, because he doesn't hang out with Chris as much as Sea-Dog does.
I feel like Sea-Dog or Joey would have been hilarious.
Yeah. Maylene. But it was nice to get some of the behind the scenes stuff of his time in Japan.
And John in the chat says the English dub for Goblin Slayer season 2 was released a couple days ago, and they brought back the same cast. That's cool.
I always love when cast of shows return for a season 2 after a decent time skip.
Agreed. That's fantastic. I think I know we watched the first 2 episodes of that. I do not remember if we watched episode 3 or not.
I just sent you a link that Darren sent me about a convention that just popped up in his area.
Oh boy, come on.
Internet don't like you, or your computer?
I think it's just everything being slow.
So your computer.
It might be the internet.
It might just be everything, the life universe, everything.
To be fair, we have at work the slowest computer in the company. We had an update done on it about 2 years ago, and I told the IT guy our computer was slow. He's like, "Oh, don't worry, I've been in and out in an hour with all the other stores, and they had really slow computers. It took him 4 hours to do the same job." I'm like, "I told you our computer was not good." He's like, yeah.
All right. Well, that is definitely a maybe.
Don't know if that's one that I would be able to make, but talking with my wife, if we could only make one con, the possibility of making one down in Darren's area is very appealing.
Well, like I said, I got a room for you, as you've discovered.
Yep.
Yes, but would you be able to handle all of us?
I got a couch. I could look. Do you know what I could actually do if it's not raining outside? I could literally throw a mattress in the back of my dump trailer, put the tarp over it, and there you go.
I don't think that would work too well in January.
Nah. In January, no, but I'm talking about if y'all want to come down for a convention later in the year.
Honestly,
would help keep the mosquitoes out.
did I send that to the group chat? That's a good question.
I don't know. I'm not you.
Yes, I did. I sent you guys the picture of the Spy Family car.
Yeah. Hey, put it on screen.
And Ross in the chat says, I'm so glad Angela was able to make it because I tried to understand something I kept seeing trending on Google since Friday, even though it's not anime. What is up with this not being able to travel to Europe anymore?
I don't know.
Let's say it in simple terms for those who want to travel. Asking if you know about it, and we'll put it in
I
layman's
know
terms.
absolutely nothing about that. I do know that I haven't seen anything about that. I know that there's I know that once again there's holdups with getting passports renewed and whatnot, but that's fairly normal these days.
And you can be proud of me, Angela. I finally have a real ID. I've got my Pennsylvania driver's license, and with the same paperwork that New York said I couldn't use, Pennsylvania's like, yeah, you got everything.
I wish I could say I was surprised by that. I'm not. Okay. So bear with me.
And in the stupid side of things, because registering the car, because I haven't owned the car for more than 6 months, I have to pay sales tax to Pennsylvania, even though I bought it in New York.
So you mean excise or
sales tax? I need to come up with another $1,000 before it's fully registered.
And people say our DMV sucks.
And there's the car I saw in Toronto.
That is just awesome.
That I thought that was cool. So, all right. And now we have oh, stop sharing. There we go. Wait a minute. Okay. An authorization of travel anymore? Ross, I'm not sure what you mean. I haven't heard anything. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. So I don't know what specific thing you are referencing. John, I would not be surprised if I watched an Isekai without knowing it was an Isekai, but I'll say, to answer your question, the answer is probably Drifters, which I actually really enjoyed and found out after the fact it was an Isekai.
And then she had regrets.
No regrets. I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to understand what Ross is asking.
That's been several things tonight. He's been speaking in riddles.
And we were talking a little bit as well about some of the shows that we've been watching. Darren actually has watched the first episode of Heat the Pig Liver.
You know,
it's not terrible yet.
Keyword yet.
New ITA's travel authorization thing for Europe.
Oh. Again, I know nothing about that.
John Knight says future plans includes buying Drifters Blu-ray. I can only imagine the Blu-ray collection you have, John, because you're always keeping your eye out for good deals for the Blu-rays.
Now I don't foresee as good of deals as in the past, for obvious reasons.
Well, Sentai will probably still run their 4 million things.
About to say Sentai, yes, but
well, Funimation would never really put that many deals out.
They would around the holidays, but they were few and far between. But Right Stuff, you couldn't beat them. You really couldn't.
Now they're with Crunchyroll, and you know that the good times are over.
Yep.
And actually was able to sit down and watch a little bit of the Trash Taste podcast. I hadn't caught up with them in a while. They were talking about esports and the Olympics and what games could possibly even fit like in an actual Olympic atmosphere for esports. That was one of the topics that they were talking about. And another one thing they were talking about, apparently you mentioned Gigic earlier. Apparently he's going to see Taylor Swift in Japan.
Oh, wow.
Because I guess Sydney's mom is a huge fan. And I learned today that apparently Taylor Swift fans are called Swifties.
Yep. They are. She's got a dedicated following, and they're all crazy.
Ross, doing a quick look into this. It's basically if for countries that don't require visas, it's basically yet another piece of documentation, but it doesn't go into effect until 2025. It's basically fill out another form. Fill out another form. It becomes linked to your passport, and it costs €7.
That's Angela the Travel Master for you. And that's using Ross's words.
Yeah, unless you're going to Europe, like within the, I wouldn't worry about it. It's at the looks of it, it's just yet another piece of paper in lieu of a visa.
Now, knowing that you spent a fun weekend up in Canada, were you able to watch any anime this week?
We actually watched a bunch before leaving. Didn't watch any while we were gone. And then over the course of next week, we'll get caught up on everything else. AKA, I'm behind on Spy Family.
Don't feel too bad. I wasn't able to watch anything this week because work.
I'm caught up on Spy Family. I do have one kind of disgruntled thing that I didn't like about one of the episodes, but until I know everybody's caught up, I'm not going to say anything.
Da, 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 da. Open up my anime list. This is why I. Nope, I didn't want to do that.
But like I said, girlfriend has been ridiculous. And I laugh at the fact that they call Noya an accidental perv in the show.
Really though.
So I've watched 2 episodes of Goblin Slayer, 2 episodes of Under Ninja, 3 episodes of Girl and Her Guard Dog. Apothecary Diaries finally dropped, so we'll be watching that this week. And I've seen 1 episode of Spy Family.
I on top of all the shows that I'm currently watching, stupid me is like I'm kind of on the fence about starting 2 other shows. I don't know if it's worth my time to check them out or not. My daughter left the nest and returned to Nest Rank Adventurer. Kind of interesting by the title. At the same point in time, don't know if it's worth investing the time in when I'm already watching so many other shows. And then 16-bit Sensation, Another Layer.
And
that drew my attention because of Gigix video that he put out recently.
We lost Darren. To address the comments coming into the chat, John, did you enjoy the live action One Piece? That's the real question. And to Ross, Ross says a good comedy romance fantasy that he's watching is I'm Giving a Noble Lady a Crash Course in Naughtiness.
Ross, that one has actually been better than I expected. The addition of the little sister coming in was definitely a bit of a surprise. I didn't know fully what to expect when she showed up on the scene. But I like the fact that she's just as devious as he is. And I kind of like the fact that the naughtiness is not what first comes to mind when you think of naughtiness.
I too have a Netflix one that the entire season dropped. But I'm tempted to actually add Goodnight World to my list.
And welcome back, Darren 3.0.
Ooh, a new picture.
Yep. My tablet was on 2%, so I walked into my room to charge it, and literally the second I plugged it in, it died.
Gotta love that.
Again, if you're tuning in and you were hoping to enjoy us chatting with our good friend Manic Dan from Manic Mart, he will be joining us next week. Due to his birthday was this past week, he wanted to spend this take time this weekend to spend with friends and family. So he asked if he could reschedule till next week, and which of course we're looking forward to having Dan on with us because he's always fun to chat with. And he's been a typical October guest for like the last 4 years in a row, I think, at least.
It's
been a
tradition.
while.
And you can't break traditions
Pretty much.
unless you're Junior.
And Mirage in the chat says, Groudon profile picture, Darren. I get bonus points for actually knowing the Pokemon.
Well, it's only my favorite legendary, so. And honestly, I wish Groudon would have got a lot more screen time. But, oh well. Because, to be honest, we saw Kyogre and Rayquaza more. But, you know, that reminds me. I really wish that he would resume serialization. Have either of you, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before, heard of dating a Team Magma Grunt?
What? No.
No. Dating a Team Magma Grunt?
Yes.
Oh,
Are any of you are any of y'all familiar with Are any of y'all familiar with any of the teams in Pokemon other than Team Rocket?
Nope.
Damon Mills, was it like Team Flare Grunt or something like that?
Yeah. Team Flare was X and Y. But villain organizations or antagonist organizations went from Team Rocket to Team Magma and Team Aqua in the same generation, in the same games. One wanted to control Kyogre to expand the oceans of the world, while the other wanted to control Groudon to expand the continents of the world. Hence the name Magma and Aqua. Team Galactic wanted to create a whole new universe. Team Plasma originally wanted everyone to release their Pokemon. So, and inadvertently, the leaders of Team Plasma were the true leader of Team Plasma would be the one in control of everything. After everyone released their Pokemon, then we had Team Flare, who didn't like humanity as a whole. He wanted to basically destroy humanity. And then Team Skull in the Sun and Moon games was just stupid. And then Team Yell, which was even more stupid. I didn't think they could get worse than Team Skull, but they did.
They went to Aladdin to offer a whole new world.
Oh Lord. Well, that would be a perfect song. That would be a perfect theme song for Diamond and Pearl, because the guy literally wanted to use Dialga and Palkia, ruler of time, ruler of space, to use their original powers to create a whole new universe. People don't. I was about to say, when people do versus battles, they don't realize that some of the most obvious characters are actually deities and do have these OP powers that people don't realize.
I was going to say in comments in the chat, Ross says, as for what Angela listed earlier on the girl and her guard dog, I don't know what it is, but I feel or sense something about the show is missing. Maybe it's the age range not being close or a lack of romance. He says, I don't know. I feel like the show is missing something.
That's completely fair. The romance feels like it's definitely going to be a slow burn.
Nothing wrong with that.
But it's I know what you mean. I don't know.
And Darren comes back. From
I mean,
3.0 to original.
the romance is it's not yeah, no, right now it's still at the stage of, well, are they going to what's going to happen with them, as opposed to stereotypical romance plus the age difference is a thing.
Yeah, that's not. I have not started that show. Don't know if I'm going to watch it. I know my wife has been. I think my wife started that one. I know it's on her bucket list to watch. There's a lot of times when she'll watch a lot of different shows than I'll watch. Then again, I like watching. I have the Isekais I like watching. Some of the fantasy stuff. Non-anime related stuff. I just realized that season 4 of Lego Masters started dropping, so I was excited to watch that. Up a little too late last night. I think I went to bed after midnight because I watched like the first 3 episodes.
As far as not anime stuff, well, I've been keeping up with hockey right now. Because both of my hockey teams are still undefeated as of earlier today.
Oh, I think the Hurricanes have lost twice now. But, I mean, it's still early in the season.
Oh, it's still early in the season.
But at least they're not the Panthers right now.
Wait. Am I seeing that correctly? The Patriots beat the Bills today?
Just stop. Don't get me started on that travesty.
I just want to look at like sports stuff for the first time. Wait, what?
Well, we had an interesting college upset last night. Undefeated Tar Heels were defeated by Virginia, who was only 1-5 for the season.
Oh, good. For all you for the baseball fans, currently the Rangers are up on Houston, which is a good thing. John in the chat is asking if we've seen the movie Mrs. Doubtfire because it's on Disney Plus. That is a classic
that I haven't seen.
We need to remedy that.
I know it was one of Robin Williams' best performances.
He was amazing in that. I'm not gonna lie.
Agreed.
He did a great job in that.
And then Ross, as of Not Anime Things, a new hottest pepper has been recorded and announced in the Guinness Book of World Records, known as Pepper X.
Yep.
and it's by the same guy that held the previous world record. And haha, it used to be the Carolina Reaper, grown in South Carolina.
Don't fear the Reaper.
Pretty much. Blue Oyster Cult.
Yep.
I'd say just looking at the scores from NFL today, the game of the day of all things, Cleveland Browns and Indianapolis Colts.
Who won? Who won that one?
The Browns.
Browns 39-38.
Wow, my one of my competition, he's a Browns fan, so I'm sure he's happy.
I can't even argue with the Browns.
Which means that if, depending on the game tonight, depending on who wins that one, I could have my top 3 favorite NFL teams all come away with a win.
Philly or Miami?
Philly.
Philly
is my NFC team.
The NFC East is still a travesty.
Well, I've been a Philly fan like for my whole life, having my mom being from PA, and I hate Pittsburgh. So
I'm actually in a having spent some time in college right outside of Philly.
Some of the fans aren't that great, but
Philadelphia sports fans are worse than Boston.
I want to say they're worse in New York.
Although it has not been, although they didn't start a riot when their team lost and set the city on fire.
What, Philadelphia?
Correct. Vancouver.
No, they did that when they won the Super Bowl.
Vancouver did it when they lost the Stanley Cup. But actually,
Ross in the chat says he wants to try Pepper X. Are you good at dealing with it with spicy food, Ross? Or
I can barely handle a jalapeno.
I don't like jalapeno. I can handle heat hotter on the scale, but I don't like the flavor of jalapeno. And now I'm going to check something.
What about cayenne?
Cayenne I like.
My dad used to grow cayenne, and then he'd put them in a dehumidifier, and then he'd basically dry them out. Then he'd take them and crush them up and basically make pepper flakes out of it.
That's actually kind of awesome. All right. So, oh, you stupid app. So apparently, there's exactly one Canadian team in Major League Baseball, one Canadian team in the NBA, and 7 Canadian teams in the NHL.
Makes sense.
And Ross says yes, he can handle them unless they come in a jelly bean form.
I'd say you're better than me.
One of the place we had lunch at today was a pub bar style place that was actually decked out Harry Potter style for a themed event happening on Halloween.
Huh. Interesting. Speaking of Harry Potter, the grill we went to, Doug, had Harry Potter trivia night the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't go, but kind of wish I would have, because I used to be a nerd about that stuff. Read all the books, watched all the movies. Not much I didn't know about it.
I would not have done very good at that.
You know, I feel like earlier I was making up for the Pokemon special I missed.
As of football, the Razorbacks fired their offensive coach yesterday after the 6th loss of the season.
So the Panthers, wait, the Razorbacks, what team is this? Football?
I don't know. I'm just reading Ross. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I'm reading Ross's comments.
Razorbacks. Arizona.
That was my team in high school.
Razorbacks, or is that college? Might be college football.
I don't think that.
And the Eagles currently have a 17-3 lead on the Dolphins. Carthage, Arkansas.
Carolina, I don't think is playing this week.
Who?
The Panthers?
The Panthers.
No, this is their bye week.
Yep, that's what I was looking at because I could totally see. Totally see that being a thing, but
As we switch to a sports talk show, but
I think,
that's the Isekai part. We were transported to the world of sports for a minute.
I feel like we
get transported all over the place.
I feel like though we could in fact do. I feel like between the three of us, we could do an entire show about sports. It would just be all over the place.
Oh, it would definitely be all over the place.
Because all of us know something about some sports.
I mean, talking like combining auto racing with anime. I was talking about Overtake, the Formula 4 based racing anime. Well, Formula 1 was actually in the United States for the US Grand Prix this weekend. They were down in Texas at Circuit of the Americas. I have not seen the highlights of it, so I don't know how the race went. But I do know they were in the US. NASCAR was racing Homestead this weekend, continuing their a lot of drivers continuing their playoff hopes.
The in baseball news, we had a game that ended with multiple ejections, fines, and a pitcher suspended for 2 games.
Is that Phillies game?
No, that was Texas Houston, Game 5.
Really, I did not know that.
In the eighth inning, pitcher threw one a little too up and in, and benches clearing, damn near brawl. Pitcher got ejected, batter got ejected, manager got ejected, and all of the umps claim that it was intentional. When the pitcher denies it, saying that no, he was just trying to get up and in, trying to pitch up and in and missed. But we'll see if he appeals everything.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, see what happens. I'll have to go back and watch that. I like chaos in sports. It's like watching, it's like going to a boxing match and a hockey game breaks out. That happened a lot in the 90s between Colorado and Detroit. That's why they were my 2 favorite teams.
One of the things we did was going to see the Hockey Hall of Fame. That was actually a fun thing to experience.
Switching gears, sports anime. Is there a hockey anime?
I don't believe so.
It's a good question for the chat because we have a lot of amazingly knowledgeable people that listen to us. And is there because I know we had figure skating anime, but was there actual
figure skating, gymnastics, sumo, soccer, swimming,
table tennis? Is table tennis / ping pong,
Badminton.
badminton, keijo. I still consider that a sports anime because they turned it into a competitive thing.
Rock climbing.
Ross says yeah on plenty of soccer animes, basketball, motorsports, volleyball, golf, horse racing. Monster Musume Season 3 is about what you would expect.
Pride of the Orange.
Pride of the Orange, a hockey anime. Interesting. I've never even heard of that one.
Same. It's from 2021.
Mixed media project produced by Cyber Agent and DMM Games about girls playing ice hockey. Coming from the Pride of Orange Wikipedia page.
I found it on my anime list.
It aired from October to December 2021, while a mobile game developed by Exnoa was released in March 22. Okay, now the fun thing. It's on Crunchyroll. And it's been dubbed. Okay.
And coming soon to sports anime, pole dancing. I do remember seeing that.
I remember seeing that as well. That'll be the one that Darren cosplays is from. Darren's gonna be a pole dancer.
We're not gonna get Darren to cosplay.
I think the closest thing we'd get Darren to cosplay would be Boxo. That way he doesn't have to be seen. Which I'm not gonna lie, if I could figure out a convenient way of doing it, I would definitely dress up as Boxo. But I'd want to figure out a way of being able to vend stuff out, have like a coin slot if people wanted to put money in. Please insert coins. You could win a prize. Too bad.
Oh, God.
Hello there. And just walk around the con the whole time just saying those phrases. And Darren knows what I'm talking about. I think.
I'm sorry, what? I zoned out.
Referring to the phrases that Boxo says.
I have no idea because I haven't seen it. Remember?
Oh, I thought you had started on that one.
Nope. It was on my list, but I never got around to it because busy.
So we do have ice hockey and still no bowling animes, which I know disappoints Darren.
Yep.
No disc golf animes, which that sport's really been taking off over the last couple of years. I think it may see something.
Pickleball is the thing that's taken over here.
Yeah?
So, I heard they're turning old something stores into pickleball courts.
I've never even played it.
Nor have I.
Same. Oh, look, we have something in common tonight.
No surfing anime. However, there is a skateboarding anime, which season 2 is coming at some point next year, I think. It got announced that a season 2 is coming.
Skate the Affinity?
Yep. That one was fun.
plenty of music-based animes, idol animes. Because I know Kaya was talking earlier that he's been enjoying the new Idol Masters, which I have not even started that series.
You have a lot to watch.
That's probably a series that I'm going to kind of overlook. And be like, I've got too much other stuff to watch.
Yeah, too much love life.
I can't. And it hurts me to say, but I lost interest in 4. I don't know if I'm going to even watch season 5. Because I lost interest in Devil as a Part-Timer season 2, part 1. I'm not watching part 2. And I loved season 1.
And you forgot about Vegas Bride too.
Yeah, I'm behind on that one. I'm behind on a lot of stuff, but both of us have Zombieland Saga that we need to watch season 2 for. Season 1 of Zombieland Saga was great. That epic rap battle just always sticks in my head when she goes and just slaps the head off the other girl. Lands in the guy's arms. He throws it back up on stage. The illusions are amazing, the crowd says, not realizing that they're all zombies. Did you watch that one, Ange, or no?
Nope.
I think you'd enjoy that one, honestly.
I think you'd enjoy it just for the sheer stupidity of it.
Wait, Zombieland Saga?
Yeah.
Yes.
Eh.
If you want a good zombie anime, go watch. And I'm dating myself. Go watch Sankarea.
Oh, that's a good one. Babu.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, it was a fun anime Boston when Monica Rial was there, and in one panel we got to hear her do Moa's voice from Show by Rock and Babu's voice.
From the chat, John Knight says Zombieland Saga's on Crunchyroll for anyone who hasn't seen it. And Ross is saying that they watched season 1 of Zombieland Saga and didn't like it.
That's the beauty of anime. There's so much of it. Not everybody's going to like the same stuff.
Exactly.
We're a prime example.
I was going to say, case in point, we don't watch. There's very little all of us watch.
Darren, don't forget I Am a Zombie from Ross. Or Am I a Zombie?
Am I not?
I think it's Is This a Zombie?
Is this a zombie, and is this a zombie of the dead? Yes, Ayamu. And his magical chainsaw get up.
I'm just not a fan of zombie stuff, period. Like, that's not exclusive to anime. That's just most media.
My wife started watching Zom 100 knowing that it wasn't continuing for who knows when. And she's like, it's really good. It just sucks that they stopped at episode 9.
That is 100% the reason why I didn't bother.
Every good zombie anime, something happens to it.
Like, I heard enough good things before the trouble started about Zom 100 that I was like, I'll give this one a shot. This will be the one. And then the trouble started, and I'm like, nope, I'm not bothering.
Well, have you seen High School of the Dead?
Nope.
You enjoyed that one, didn't you, Darren?
Loved it. I get a lot of hate for picking best girl in that one. And I'm sorry, but I liked Ray over Psycho.
One of these days, Angela will join us in a best girl, best boy discussion.
That would be fun. But you all know that Marin tops the list for best girl across most anime.
I would definitely put Marin on an S tier list up there with Holo from Spice and Wolf.
Yes. You know,
I will give you guys Marin. I would argue yours top tier.
Your would be like A plus or S minus.
But
she's badass enough to be S tier.
But I feel like I feel like those are two that
two opposite ends of the spectrum.
We're getting into would that get into waifu versus best girl?
Where should I throw Nagatoro?
She was an adorable character,
especially in that cat getup.
Yes,
because you can't put like when I was finishing up college, we had a category of a what we would call too cute to live.
Okay.
And I feel like I feel like you can't put that in the same category as like the badass will kick your ass if you look at them the wrong way characters.
Yeah. I'd be like comparing Yor to Maple.
Exactly.
Maple's more on the Marin scale as opposed to the Yor scale.
Bingo. Maple's adorable.
Yeah.
Yuna's adorable. From Kuma Bear.
Ross in the chat.
And none of them I would consider to be waifu material. Marin may be waifu, but...
Marin is waifu, and probably because I'm closer to her age range.
But Maple and Yuna, to me, are just adorable. I don't consider them waifus.
See, I suppose for me, I don't consider Marin waifu, but I think that may very well be the age difference. Ross says, Darren, we can agree that Euclid Wood, Hellscythe, and Kyoko are best girls in Is This a Zombie? Yes.
Euclid Wood, no. I like you, but no. Yoko, I can agree with.
And John Knight says, High School of the Dead anime is on Hulu.
I have the limited edition box set for that, I think, or the steel book. I forget.
You have all those collectible things.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to Food Wars.
Yes, because Food Wars went over the top. I mean, heck, they gave me what's his face's apron.
Yeah.
They gave me chopsticks. They gave me.
How often do you walk around your house naked, just wearing the apron like the anime?
Never. I wear an apron quite frequently at work. I think I'd get arrested if I took anything off.
That's what I said, at home, not at work. Although they did it on Impractical Jokers. Crunchyroll, I think, is doing a deal right now. Plus, they have a TV network that they're looking at putting out soon. Did you see about that one?
Yeah, that actually is interesting. But given who they're owned by, it makes sense.
Yeah. And none of your business says, if I'm naked, why would I wear an apron? Unless while cooking bacon. Don't do that.
And if we're talking best girl as in terms of badass, I would have to choose Miharu from Girls Bravo.
Oh, good God.
Oh my god. Miharu? Really? I thought someone was gonna say Revi from Black Lagoon. Was that it? One of
I,
those badass females in anime history.
Uh, if we're talking badass girls, Mikasa from Attack on Titan would be up there.
oh, I would have to say Inner Mocha Rosario Vampire.
I could agree to that.
Even though I fell out of interest of Fairy Tail, there's a Scarlet's right up there as well with badass females.
Which one? The Edalus version or the normal version?
The normal
Or
version.
Okay, because don't forget Lucy was crazy in the Edalus version.
Oh, I know, but I like Urza better.
Honestly, my favorite girl out of Fairy Tail, I really don't have one.
If I had to pick one, I would probably say Levy. Much to the dismay of most people.
I can see that. Maybe Lizana.
I never actually watched Fairy Tail.
I watched 120, 140 episodes and then got bored because it was just felt very repetitive.
And Ross started this because I mentioned badass earlier. He's saying talking about Marin, but no, that's but I think he means Yor.
Marin is badass in her own way, but I think it's just because she's like the anomaly of, the attractive girl, very personable, very outgoing, open-minded, not snobby, develops feelings for the shy, shut-in guy who keeps to himself. All because he can sew.
I just who are we kidding? Spy Fam. I just really like Yor's character.
I like Yor's character too.
Would you wrap your vehicle with Yor on the hood or anything?
No, but that's because my car is a
Poo-poo box.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know if I was.
How would my truck look with Zenobia on the side, given the color of it?
I don't think it would be too bad, in all honesty.
Put her in her either her church getup or her black battle outfit, and that picture, that image where she was kind of laying down with Durandal branded.
What you do is you put her in her black outfit on one side, and then you put Golden Darkness in her black outfit on the other.
In the chat, John says, Darren, my future plan is to watch High School of the Dead Zombieland Saga and Is This a Zombie? And Ross says, also, we talking Fairy Tail went through certain of the girl's phases, landed on choosing the girl Merity, the pink-haired girl that does link magic.
I know who I know who he's talking about.
I do not.
Merity. Yes, I remember her.
I got nothing.
I'm trying to think. Who else would qualify as? I think we need to do a show.
That's the character there, Edge.
Okay. We need to do a show. What, Darren?
We need to do a show where we come up with our. Did we already do one with our top female characters and top male characters?
Not in a long time.
Maybe have a waifu husbando show, or best written female and best written male characters. I don't know.
Our top 5 favorite female characters, top 5 favorite male characters. That way it's not just, okay, waifus or whatnot. Because I know, Angela, you typically don't look at it, characters as a husbando or a waifu.
I don't. I also
But
just.
But I know that you like good written characters, good storylines.
Exactly.
So if we just say your favorite male and favorite female characters, that might make it easier for you to be like, okay, I like this one.
Well, you're gonna get random nonsense from me then. Comparatively,
I'd be surprised if you didn't put Ruby on the list.
if I was going to choose a character from that franchise,
Because we're just talking all anime, so.
if I was going to pick something from that franchise, the obvious best girl would be Yang.
That the yellow hair?
Yes. If you look up the trailers and watch the yellow trailer, that's me in a nutshell.
If I had to do the best girl, I don't know. By the way, Doug, Right Stuff had their waifu wars. Used to have their waifu wars every now and then, and there was a lot of salty people over the winter a couple of years ago because guess who it came down to in the finals?
Who?
You've already mentioned her once tonight.
Holo?
Yep. And who do you think her competition would be?
What year was this that came out?
Several years ago, like 3, 4, 5 years ago. When Right Stuff conducted their Waifu Wars poll, and Hollow was a finalist, and guess who the other finalist was?
Malim?
No. Waifu. Think waifu. Like pure waifu.
And
Makoto Misaka, I have seen on those lists.
Nope.
while you're thinking about that, in the chat, Ross says, but in serious, of all badass characters that can beat all your badass best girl characters is Misaki Kura from Divergence Eve, since she can turn into a ghoul-type monster.
I have no idea who the other one would be, Darren.
Who's one of my favorite characters?
Zenobia?
The other one.
Rias?
Bingo. A lot of people were salty that Rias won that one. Like, there was a lot of people that were like, oh, come on, Hollow is like the ideal waifu. Like, how did she lose to Rias?
Because it's Rias Gremory.
It was just funny to me how many people in the comments were complaining that in terms of character writing, Hollow probably is better. But in terms of everything else, Rias just had her beat.
Rias just had the better plot.
Literally.
Excuse me.
I know that bores Angela.
No, I am exhausted.
It says she just flew back from Canada, and boy, are her arms tired.
No, I am exhausted, period. My feet hurt like hell because I have been walking. We walked everywhere.
I know that feeling. This week was my first week of doing local jobs, so I was walking probably at least 5 miles every night this week, and I'm lazy. I don't really do much walking. So spending a lot of time on the ground, having to walk, 20 to 40 car freight trains multiple times a night. And
I need to see how much walking I actually do in fast food, because you really don't realize how much walking you do in fast food.
Well, I know.
Honestly, the Poke Walker was one of the best things Pokemon ever came out with.
Do you know they have like a Poke Sleep thing now?
Yep.
app on, because my wife uses that. She just caught a shiny Swablu.
Swab blue. Oh Lord. But I hope it evolves into Altaria because I used to hate dealing with that Pokemon
Like-
playing the games.
Like for example, today, just before we got on the airplane, I walked over 17,000 steps.
Impressive.
Yesterday was 30. I had over 30,000.
Ross, we can't end the show early. We love you guys out there. We wouldn't want to do that to you guys.
No.
I'll be honest, I didn't know if Angela was even going to make it tonight because she didn't know if she was going to make it.
I did not. I wasn't sure what time our flight was, if we were going to have delays. And for any of you who know Boston, getting out of the airport, they had us detoured. They had a lot of things closed, so we had to get out of the airport, go through East Boston, only to basically turn around just to get back on I-90 going west. And then it was down to one lane for a stretch.
Welcome to Boston.
Yep.
HH in the chat, because I had mentioned that when you messaged me that you didn't know it, I-90 was down to one lane in the tunnel. He goes, she could be home in 25 minutes or 3 hours.
Yep.
I said, yeah, and she's only got to go about 2 miles.
Pretty much.
And I
Because
said you could have walked faster.
entirely possible, actually, but no. From my front door to the airport is when there's no traffic, a 15-minute drive.
And that's why I said between 25 minutes and 3 hours.
Yep.
And I mentioned earlier that we talked to Rick from Nerd Urbanity this weekend a little bit. Unfortunately, due to flight cancellations and flooding, he never actually made it to the Toy Expo.
Oh no.
But we are looking at bringing him back on the show probably within a couple of weeks if the scheduling will allow. And just to touch base, and especially since we're closing in on that holiday season, why not promote some of our friendly vendors? And Rick's just an awesome guy all around anyway.
Agreed. He's a lot of fun, but oh no, that sucks that he didn't get to go.
I know, he was looking forward to that too. All right, Darren, looking ahead, do you think you'll have a chance to watch anything this week? I think we lost him already.
Yep.
I know you said you're going to try to catch up on some stuff during the week.
That's the plan.
I
John in the chat, I'm gonna watch tomorrow. I'm gonna watch Goblin Slayer season 2 dub premiere and Devil is a Part-Timer season 2 part 2 dub finale, and Rising of the Shield Hero season 3 dub premiere.
Even though I know I should get to bed soon because my alarm's going to go off at 5, I am probably going to try to get in one of the 2 shows that dropped today, just so I'm not extremely far behind, knowing that I start a new job, a new road job tomorrow, or a local job tomorrow. I have to call and make sure I'm on the right train. But I got to be in Allentown for 7 a.m. That's like a 45-minute drive.
And from Ross, I'm feeling like Blue's Clues right now. It'd be time for So Long for Me. Just one more song. Thanks for doing your part. You sure are smart. You can do anything that you want to do. And on that note,
I hope everybody had a fun time tonight. We enjoyed talking a lot of randomness, nonsense. Next week, we're going to have Manic Dan from Manic Mart. Dan Flanders will be joining us, talking about the stuff that he's been working on, the craziness, the zaniness. Have a safe Halloween if we miss you. I know it's not until next, I think, Tuesday.
a week from Tuesday is Halloween.
The crazy thing is, in the city I live in, they're doing trick-or-treating on Thursday on the 26th. I don't know why, but that's what they do.
That's silly, but
so there's a good chance, depending on work schedule, maybe my daughter gets 2 trick-or-treat nights. We'll see. But until next week, when we welcome Manic Dan from Manic Mart, have a wonderful week. Keep watching anime, stay safe out there, and we'll see you again right here for more Anime-Zing Radio on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Have a good night, everyone.
See you next time.